Hi, this is Chef Paul, and today we're going to make cream puffs. So we're going to make something called pot au choux, which is the dough that you make cream puffs out of. And you can do actually a lot with pot au choux, but a lot of people know it for the cream puff, right? So we're going to go over our basic mise en place for it. You're going to need a bowl, you're going to need eggs, flour, and then in here there's a little bit of salt, water, and butter. All right, so I'm going to bring this up to a boil, and I'm going to add the flour to it, and I'm going to start cooking it until it kind of gets smooth. It kind of looks like a roux. It's kind of got that consistency to it, but it has water in it instead of it's not just fat. And then we're going to add our eggs one at a time. We're going to do it by hand with a wooden spoon, and this is that physical leavening. The eggs, it's going to have it rise and create a puff. So we're going to go ahead, and then when you actually pipe them out, you can use a Ziploc bag if you don't have a little pastry bag, either way, and I'll show you how to do that after we make the pot au choux paste here. So we're gonna go to the stove, bring it up, we're gonna come over here, take this again, we're gonna bring it up. All right, you're gonna bring it up to a boil. Again, this is just water, butter, there's a little bit of sugar and salt in there. So we're gonna let this go. So we're gonna check back in a few minutes. This is all gotta melt and come up to a boil, then we're gonna add the flour. You can see it's starting to come to a boil here, but we're not there. All that butter has to melt, so we're just gonna wait. And as soon as this all comes to a boil here and starts melting, I'm gonna add that flour in all at one time. We're just about there. I'm just stirring this, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna add the flour all at one time, and I'm gonna stir it. So right now I'm gonna turn this down to, you're on low, it looks like we're there. I'm just gonna dump all the flour in, all at one time, boom, just like that. Very similar to how you'd make a roux, except for there's water in this. Now I'm gonna mix it, keep mixing this, and it's gonna come on, you just keep mixing it until it's gonna form a paste, and it's gotta come off the sides. Keep stirring it, keep stirring it. It comes off to the sides. It needs to get really smooth. Oh, we're getting there, starting to come, there you go. See how it's starting to get smooth like that? There we go, we're just about there. Maybe another 30 seconds here. Keep moving it, keep moving. It's on low at this point. It's not on high. It's just kind of getting dry, and it's getting that nice smooth texture. That's what you want to see, that nice smooth texture. If you look at it like that, you can kind of go like that and put your fingerprint in there. It's nice and dry. That's what you want. That's perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a bowl. Dump it over here. We're just going to dump it in the bowl like this. Kind of break it up a little bit. I'm going to let this set for a couple of minutes. Then we're going to add our eggs. All right, so once you get this, you let it cool 5 minutes or so. Then you're gonna add the eggs one at a time. We're making a small batch here, so we're only using 2 eggs. So I'm gonna go ahead and crack 1 egg in it. Put 1 egg inside, and you're gonna slowly start mixing it. Now the thing is to get it in, you can do this with a paddle using the KitchenAid mixer. It is easier, but we're just gonna keep going. It doesn't look right. It's gonna kind of look all messy. You just gotta keep going until it all comes together. Until it all starts to form. Until it all comes together, it'll keep going. It'll all eventually come together. Just keep mixing it. Keep mixing it. It'll all eventually come back. So we'll check back in a minute, and it should all be together. All right, it's been a minute or so. Now you can see it's come together. It took the egg. Now we're gonna add 1 more, and we're gonna do the same thing. I put 1 egg in here. I'm gonna do the same thing. Slowly, it's all gonna kind of fall apart. Mix this up. Okay, I'll let it go, and then we'll check on it in a minute until it comes back together. All right, so I've been mixing this for, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. Now it came back together. It's really sticky, and all the eggs came in. So when you do this, at first it's not gonna look right, but you just gotta keep mixing. So I just keep mixing. Like I said, you can use a KitchenAid mixer, but you can use a wooden spoon as well. So now I'm gonna show you how you pipe it out. All right, so you can see I put this in a little disposable pastry bag, but you can use a Ziploc bag like this if you have that. You cut it in, you cut the ends, and you just start piping. You just kind of keep them going, pipe them in. You can use a star tip too if you have them. You can use, or just plain like this, just you don't need to have one. So I'll just continue to do all these, and then we'll check back. All right, so you just pipe them out. You get an oven at 400 degrees, and then we're gonna check on them in 20 minutes, and they should rise. Okay, so you can see our puffs, they've come out, they look good, but now what I'm gonna do is I just turn the oven off now, and we're gonna let them set in the oven for about 10 minutes. So the oven, it's done its thing. It's been about 17, 18 minutes. Now we're gonna dry them out with all that egg in there. Now you're just gonna let them dry out. So we're gonna leave them in that off oven with the oven door open for maybe 10 minutes, and then they'll be good to go. All right, hi, this is Chef Paul. We're gonna be making pastry cream. Pastry cream is that filling that goes into a cream puff. You can use whipped cream, or you can make this, it's a custard filling that's called pastry cream. So what we're gonna be doing, the mise en place with this, is we're gonna be doing eggs, which I have in here already. I have 2 yolks, 1 whole egg. I have sugar and cornstarch. I'm gonna show you how you mix that. And over here I have 80% milk. Most pastry creams, when you look at it, you'll see a recipe and they all use milk. I like to put a little bit of cream in it, just a little bit. So this is probably 70 to 80% milk with a little bit of cream in, just to make it a little richer. And then I put a little vanilla extract. So we're gonna get this hot, so I'm gonna put it over to the stove and get this hot, let that go. And then we're going to mix this. So once you get your eggs, like I said, you have egg yolks and eggs, sugar, cornstarch. Now we gotta mix it. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna slowly start to get this to incorporate. And then we're gonna get this into what we call it, it's called the ribbon stage. Now you can do this with if you have a mixer at home, but you don't have to. You can just use a whisk, slowly mixing. I'm going slow because I don't want the cornstarch to come all over the place. Now I can start mixing. Now I'm just gonna keep mixing this. I'm gonna go for probably 3 to 4 minutes, and I'm gonna check back. All right, so I've been going like three minutes or so, and you can see this is what they call the ribbon stage. It's nice and light yellow. It's got air in it. It almost looks like a sauce. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna wait for that milk and cream to heat up, and then we're gonna temper it in. So we're gonna give it another 30 seconds, and I'm gonna temper it in. All right, so our milk and cream mixture is nice and hot. Now we're gonna temper it. We're tempering it into the eggs so we don't get scrambled eggs. So what does that mean? It means we're gonna add a little bit at a time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put a little bit in here, and I'm gonna mix it, slowly get it into our mixture. Right, just gonna this is called tempering. Just kinda keep mixing it, especially when you temper when you're using eggs, because you don't wanna scramble your eggs. So we just go slowly. I'll put a little bit in, and then I'm gonna end up pouring it all back in the pot, and we're gonna bring it back up. And it looks this kind of looks like that anglaise sauce we made. It's the same. Look at that. We get it all here. Put it inside here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in here, and I'm gonna dump it all back. Okay, so I'm gonna put this back in here. Now we're gonna cook it. So I'm gonna get a rubber spatula. I'm gonna get it all in the bowl, and I'm gonna show you how you cook it. All right, so once we got it all in there, we tempered it. Now we gotta bring it up. So you're gonna have this on like medium, and it'll take about 3 to 5 minutes, depends on how hot it is. And you wanna keep stirring it, because again, there's egg in here. You don't want scrambled eggs. So I'm just gonna let this go. So we're gonna check back, and I'm gonna stand in front of it, and I'm gonna stir it. We're gonna check back in a couple minutes. All right, it's been like a minute, and you can see we're still not there. What's gonna happen is it's gonna start to come to a boil, and it's gonna get thick right away. So I probably got another minute, but I've been stirring it because you don't want scrambled eggs. So we'll check back in about 30 seconds. We're gonna be here soon. All right, here we go. You can see it's starting to come to a boil, and it's starting to get thick. You can feel it when you do it. I have it on low. It kind of bring it up here. It's starting, oh yeah, you're seeing that cornstarch is getting nice and thick. We're almost there. Just let it go. I'm stirring it. Keep stirring it. Keep stirring it. Get it nice and thick. That's what you want. And remember, we're going to serve this cold, and this is what goes in the center of a cream puff. So I'm going to let that go just about there. There we go. All right, I'll show you what we do next. All right, so you can see that's how it's nice and thick. We got it in a bowl. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna let this set, let some of it cool down, and then I have some cold butter here, and I'm gonna add that. So we're gonna come back in a minute, and I'm gonna add that butter. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and add the butter to it. We're gonna go ahead and add our butter right inside. When you mix it with the wooden spoon, it's still hot, so it'll melt. And you got that emulsion going. Remember, we have those egg yolks, and we're adding this fat, this butter to it, so it'll get in there. You just gotta keep mixing it, gets it nice and smooth. It adds some flavor. It'll make, you can see how smooth that is. That looks really good. So I'm gonna mix this, and I'm gonna get the butter in, and then then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in the refrigerator for a couple of hours, and then you can put it in the cream puffs. All right, so you can see I've added the butter. It's nice and smooth. So now what you wanna do is you wanna put some plastic wrap on it. You wanna touch it, because you don't want, this will get a skin. So we don't wanna get a skin, so you just kinda go like that so it touches it. and then we won't get that skin. And now it's gonna take a few hours because it's hot and you serve this cold. I'll put it in the refrigerator and I'll show you how you fill them. Okay, so now we're gonna make the chocolate ganache. Now, chocolate ganache is basically, you know, it's cream. I have a little bit of vanilla in it, and I'm using chocolate chips. You don't have to use chocolate chips. You can use a better chocolate. The better the chocolate, the better it comes out. But this is a basic chocolate chips that you can get at the store. It's not really expensive, and it will work. You can also flavor this with anything. You could put Bailey's in it. You can add different liqueurs. You could add all kinds of different things if you wanted to. I'm just adding vanilla, and we're gonna make a real basic ganache. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna bring this up to a boil. All right, so I'm gonna turn this on, get it on medium. I'm gonna bring it up to a hot, just before it boils and comes over, it gets to that, right to that point where it scalds, and I'm gonna pour it on the chocolate. So we're gonna let this go a minute and then we'll check back on it. All right, you can see it just about, it's nice and hot. I turn this off. I'm gonna bring it over to the chocolate. And I'm gonna pour this onto the chocolate just like that. I'm gonna let this set for about, 2 minutes, and then I'm gonna start stirring it. All right, so it's been sitting, so now I'm just gonna slowly start mixing this with the wooden spoon here. And I'm gonna mix it, and then I'm gonna put this on a double boiler. If it doesn't completely melt, you just kinda, that double boiler like we talked about in class, you just kinda let this go here, just like that. So now what you're gonna do, as this is melting like this, it's getting there. It's slowly, I'm gonna bring it over to the pot of water. Remember we talked about water in a little pot? You set it right on top, you turn it, and I'm gonna stir it. I'm just gonna keep stirring this, and we'll check back in a couple minutes and see how it looks. All right, so you can see I have it on low. Just to keep it warm, it's over a little bit of water. Sometimes you need to do it, sometimes you don't, but see how it's nice and shiny now? That's perfect. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this set, and I'm gonna show you how you fill our cream puffs. All right, so you can see we got some things you can build with. Here are some of our puffs. You can see some of them might have a star tip, some of them have nothing. This one here has got some whipped cream and some of our chocolate. So you can do whatever you like. Here's one with that star tip. And what you can do is you just can kind of cut the top off like this. Kind of make sure you get that opening there, right? If you have the chocolate, you can just kind of squeeze some of the chocolate on the bottom. It goes right in. That one's whipped cream, or you can use the pastry cream, and you kind of put the pastry cream in there, right? Get that set, and you put this on top, right? And I'll show you. So I'm gonna build some of these, and we're gonna make a plate. I'm gonna show you how we can make it look good. So I'm gonna keep going. You can put, or you could just do chocolate, all pastry cream, all whipped cream, whatever you like. All right, so I just finished these up. I put some whipped cream in some of them have the pastry cream, most of them have chocolate on the bottom. You can also take these and make sundaes out of them. You could actually fill them with ice cream. There's a lot you can do with the cream puff, so here you go.